Hello and welcome to this episode of The Inner Estate with Bridget Stuart. I am here today with my special guest, Joliee Robinson. Joliee Robinson is the founder, the Rainmaker, an amazing real estate agent and land specialist in Texas, and she is the owner of Joliee Robinson Realty. Joliee, thank you for being my guest today, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, one of the reasons I'm excited to have you here, Joliee, is I want to be able to discuss your spirit of entrepreneurship. And I wanted to dive into all the different aspects and character traits and how that has shown up for you of being an entrepreneur and being this business owner. So when you think about being an entrepreneur and what you've accomplished in your career, what does that really mean to you? How does it show up for you?
Well, I think there's benefits to being your own boss, but I think you've got to be prepared to make the commitment and be disciplined enough to make it successful. You've got to be able to show up every day. You've got to be motivated, and you've got to be willing to go the extra mile in the beginning, do what's necessary to get yourself on that path. When you've been in industries where you've worked for other companies, other businesses, and now it's all up to you. You have to have a learning mindset, you have to be disciplined, and you have to be committed to make it work.
I agree. And, one of the things you just mentioned, as you were discussing that, it popped in my mind. In the beginning, even though you're the owner of the business, you're going to be more successful if you treat it like a job and like you are working for yourself. You've got to show up. You have to be there. You have to have consistency and a schedule and know what you're doing when you're doing it.
Right.
It's so easy for some people, especially in our industry, where they get into our industry thinking they're going to have freedom. And I know that happens with other business owners too. Like, oh, if I own my own business, I'll have freedom. If you're not careful, you're going to have freedom from money, right? Because if you just think that means you can sleep in all day and show up when you want and, oh, I won't work today, you're not going to get off the ground, right?
Well, and the other thing that I think that people don't always take the right approach on is building your resources and your village. You have to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, that have done it and are willing to mentor you. I mean, it's just essential. I mean, I've learned so much from other agents in partnering with them on a deal or working with them through a mastermind, being referred to a coach, all the things that bring it together and allow you to flourish and be your best and climb that mountain. But you have to get in touch with the right people. I mean, to me, it's a deal breaker, because it's a lot to take on. There's the idea of working in the business and then there's on the business.
On the business, yes.
At some point, you have to be able to juggle both and do both to be effective and for it to work at a good level or a high level and build into this really amazing, successful thing. The freedom doesn't come up front. Obviously, the financial side of it is, a commitment and a challenge, but you have to have key people in place that can guide you.
I agree. People, and I'd even add on to that, models. So one of my favorite, Gary Keller quotes is, success leaves clues. Look at other successful people that have done it. What was their model? And then implement, learn from the model. So everything that you're describing now, because your business has gotten off to a very strong start and you're having a really great year. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that you're on pace to have your biggest year ever in 2025. Yes. Correct, yes. Right?
Yes.
So you're having a great year and and a great career as well. And it is when you lean into the people, as you were saying, and some models and some structure, it accelerates the growth. It doesn't guarantee it. Correct. And it doesn't mean that it's all in one direction. It's not a smooth incline. You're not on a ski lift just going straight up the mountain. However, it typically will get you further up the mountain faster, but it's still, up and down.
Yeah. Well, and having systems in place, I witnessed it firsthand in the first, couple of years whenever I got into the industry. If you don't have a system, you cannot run your business off of duct tape and sticky notes.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't work. Obviously, social media is a big animal out there. It can
Right.
be a black hole. And depending on your generation and your age, it can be very overwhelming. Everybody embraces it differently. Everybody has a different perspective on it. But it's still essential to what we do because
Right.
there's just so much information out there for consumers to grab. And the very first place they're going is to the internet. And so
That's right.
if you don't have some sort of presence there, then you're already behind the eight ball. You're already behind the average agent, not the top agents, not the top 10%, not the top 1% in your state. You're behind just average Joe that's just
exactly right.
20 hours a week, just building vacation money. So, that is essential. And the other thing is learning to leverage. When we think about how our parents raised us or previous generations, there's things that they would never spend money on because they're
Right.
like, I'm not doing that because I can do that. But how much can you make over here while somebody else is doing this for you?
That's right.
Learning to leverage your business is a skill. It's a skill set that you have to learn. And coaching plays a big role in that. These coaches come in with years and years of experience and they help you with multiple levels of the business. I mean, it's real estate, but it's also financial and resources and spending and wise choices. And it's a whole bucket of stuff that they can provide to help you build it out.
Right. And again, accelerate the process.
Yeah. As you can tell, I mean, I've been that way with therapists too. I'm a big proponent of coaching.
Well, good. Yes, I am too, actually.
Essential.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you need to embrace it as, life coaches. I mean, it can be amazing,
Yeah, I love giving and receiving in the whole realm. Yeah, I think I've shared with you, I've had a coach, at least one, sometimes more. I have more right now, since February 1999. So I think that's shows that I definitely believe in it. But one of the things that I think a coach really can help with too is mindset.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what, man, the early stages of launching any new business, one of the biggest challenges is the energy, the enthusiasm, and the mindset, and that mixture, and keeping that in a really strong place so you can keep yourself taking the actions required to achieve the goal.
Well, and because there's highs and lows, right? I mean, I can remember a time when I sat on a coaching call and I had to turn the video off. And the whole point is they want you to interact, they want you to engage, they want you to ask questions. But I was so overwhelmed and I felt so vulnerable, I had to turn the camera off because I was crying. I mean, I was bawling. Right. But then I've had these amazing experiences where I was like,
right.
Charts, so all that builds you into how you provide value to your clients.
Right.
I like to say, one of the things I like to tell them is we're going to get the right people to the table to have the right conversations so that you make the very best decisions for your circumstances in your life. Right. So I take that and I also apply it to myself. I mean, if I'm doing it for them, why would I not do that for myself?
For yourself, yeah.
Absolutely. So I get the right people to the table to help me make sure that I'm building this business out in the best possible way with the best resources that I can.
And you're really structuring it in a powerful way early on. When I think about you, and I've had the privilege of knowing you and working with you now for a couple of years, one of the things that I've observed is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you are naturally tenacious. And I feel like you have a spirit of you can accomplish what you set out to do, and you can do it coming from contribution. And when you do it, it is going to benefit you because you're going to feel great about yourself, and it's going to benefit your clients. And by the way, even the other side's clients, because you really have that driving desire for win-win solutions.
Yes.
And I've seen that show up for you as well as for many of your clients.
Yes.
How have you seen it? Like, do you agree? And B, how have you seen the tenacity show up in what you're doing and what you're building?
Well, in a couple of different ways. Number one is staying in it. Staying in the
Mm-hmm.
trenches. My very first listing that I ever got was a $5 million listing, and it was on a land deal that lasted almost 20 months. So, I mean, we went up and down, the peaks and valleys. It was transitional land, lots of people involved in it, lots of red tape, municipality, all the things in that community to try to get that property sold. But the most important thing that kept our team together, that kept the clients happy, was communication.
Yes.
People are scared to follow up. People are scared to stay on it, if you will. They're scared to just stay on it. And I mean, I'm just not. I am
Right.
going to see it through one way or the other. I will find them. We'll get the answers. We're all going to communicate. We're going to work as a team. And I apply that to everything that I do. I mean, I just don't stop till I find it. Whatever it is that I'm looking for, or whatever the answer is.
And you definitely showed that during that transaction. As you mentioned, solid 20 months. An elephant could have had a baby. I think I haven't
Yes.
checked that, but that
Yes.
it was a considerable length of time. One of the things that I noticed, and that those particular clients are still close to you.
Yes.
They have, right? And there were really tough conversations. There were fierce conversations that had to be held during that transaction. One of the things that stood out for me as an observer, being right outside of what was happening, I feel like those clients connected with you so strongly because they felt like you listened. They felt like you heard what they were actually saying with words. And I feel like they felt that you also understood the spirit behind the words. So
Yeah.
because you were able to have very difficult conversations and they were willing to enter into the conversation with you. How do you achieve that? How do you have the clients have that feeling that you're truly hearing them?
Well, it first starts with trust, and building that trust, ensuring that they know that that you're going to be the highest fiduciary and work at the
Mhm.
highest level. For me, the only easy thing coming into real estate was that I have an investment and insurance background. I worked for an investment company for 10 years. So working with high net worth individuals, having confidential conversations and goal planning and documenting and communicating all came very natural to me. I
Mhm.
think, it's important to always keep the eye on the goal and always bring the clients back to that goal to remind them, and keep that momentum in helping them work towards that goal. There's going to be obstacles and things. Every real estate transaction is different, but I always come back to the goal. What is the goal? And then having clarity on how to achieve that goal. I mean, the clarity is so important, so that, and one of the things I've had to learn through real estate is to keep it simple. Don't
Yes.
overcomplicate things. That's very, very hard for me. I'm a detailed person. I like to tell you the whole story. I like to give you all the reasons, but you've got to keep it simple because people just get overwhelmed so quickly. And so I think it's important. One of the hardest business meetings that I went to for that transaction, I just had on a piece of paper and it was just written out: goal, clarity, momentum. That was it. That was all on the page.
That's
And
awesome.
I laid it down in the middle of the table and I said, this is all we're going to talk about right here. And
Goal, clarity, momentum.
correct. Goal, clarity, momentum. What is your goal? Let's make sure we have a clear path to success. So we're going to get from here to here in the best possible way, just like you would on your maps. And then keep the momentum. Keep the momentum going. Keep the communication. Keep both sides going. And we brought both sides of that deal. So, I mean, my
Yeah,
team was
right.
amazing. And
Yeah.
it
You were
worked.
definitely doing some ballet moves, some tap dancing. So you were going through a little bit of
Yes,
swing.
absolutely. But you can apply it to any negotiation on the buyer or seller side in any client.
I think I'm going to call that the Robinson approach. I like it a lot. I'm writing that one down.
Yeah.
That and literally you had those 3 words with bullet points on a piece of paper and had it on the table.
Handwritten out. That's it. Yep. Yes.
There you
That's
go.
it. That's it.
Well, if there's an agent out there right now, because you nailed it, by the way, going back to what you said a few minutes ago. Many agents or salespeople or managers or HR, whomever it is, whatever you're doing, if you're listening to this, because it's not just for salespeople and realtors, they will hesitate to call and deliver or set up the appointment to deliver difficult information, the fierce conversation style information. And sometimes they jump the gun with what they think is going to be good news, and they call and they almost overshare when things are not in writing yet or things have not been delivered yet, and then they get expectations high.
Mm-hmm.
But that hesitation and that lack of confidence in delivering real information that may be perceived as negative,
Mm-hmm.
it really causes so many problems. And if an agent or anyone is out there listening and they find themselves hesitating to just call and approach something difficult, and a lot of times here's what I hear. Well, I thought I would wait until the end of the day to see if something changed, or I know that they're busy this next couple of days, so I'm going to wait and tell them later. I always tell them that is fresh fish in the refrigerator. It's not going to be better in 4 days.
Correct.
And it's probably not even going to be where it is today. It's going to be worse, right?
Yes.
What would you say to anyone listening that knows that they have that hesitation, that like, oh, I don't want to do that? What would you recommend to them as a way to get over that?
It comes back to our role and what our job is to be the best that we can be for our clients. And I know that sounds cliche, but over communicate. I mean, in my opinion, the number one reason that people find new realtors or that they terminate with the person that they have is because they didn't communicate with them. They
That's
didn't
right.
communicate with them. They didn't keep them informed. They didn't keep them up to date. There's so many different ways to communicate with people now. Know who you're dealing with. If you're with the farmer and rancher, get your boots on. Don't wear your polka dotted dress and your heels to the land meeting.
Right.
Or to the land listing, but if you're in a nice residential luxury neighborhood, it's old school. Dress the part. Know what you're doing. Know your client and know how to communicate with them. But to answer your question specifically, I think they will respect you more if you sit down and say, hey, we've run into a challenge. We've got an obstacle here. We've got some options. We're going to research. We're going to do our best to work through it. But here's where we are today. I mean, this is some people's biggest investments of their lives. And
the majority of Americans. Yeah.
And as you've heard before, it's a journey. They're doing it for multiple reasons. They can't afford the taxes. Families have gotten divorced. Loved ones have passed away. They want their new beginning. They want their new, and this is people's hard-earned money. That's where I come back to the fiduciary duty and being responsible for helping them make the wise choices. If I don't know, the one thing they know is I'm going to find the right person.
That's right.
For all of my clients, I do a spreadsheet of consultants. Their tax advisor, their financial advisor, their 1031 consultant, the real estate attorney. And not everybody needs those. If you have a new young couple that's trying to buy a home or trying to start out on their own, they just need good buying guidance. They need to understand what the process is like. But I don't know. I'm direct, and I think you hit it head on. I think you don't hide, you don't hesitate, and you don't wait.
You don't wait. That's right.
And you make it a priority. And not everybody does that. And not everybody does that well. And for me, I would rather them much come back to me and say, man, she's an over communicator, than them be lost and not know what's going on.
It's so funny you mentioned that. I have a lot of friends in the industry that are brokers of record for offices or managers of offices, leaders of real estate locations. And more than one of them, they have joked with me and they've said, man, I just wait for the day when a client calls me to complain that their agent over communicated with them, because it never happens.
Right.
No consumer reaches out to the manager or the broker of record to say, you know what? My agent won't leave me alone. They're giving me too many updates. They're giving me too many emails.
Right.
They need to stop. You better tell them to rein it in. That never happens. Guess what complaints they get nearly every day? Can't get hold of my agent. They never call me. If I have a question, I have to call them. they only send me an email. And the other day I realized it's an automated email. I feel like they don't care about, so wow. If anyone hears this, please know you cannot over communicate.
I mean, here's another story. One of my clients that's, just a good person and just trying to do the right thing for his family. He called into our market center and they had the property listed. The agent that he was working with, she got sick with pneumonia. She got bit by a copperhead snake in Texas, which is very,
That's not on my bucket list.
No, that's not where you want to be. That's not where you want to be. And then she got out of the real estate business. Here's what happened. The MLS was required to terminate the listing because the agent was no longer in the business and nobody informed the client. This went on for 4 months. The property was not on the market. It was not on the MLS. They thought it was. They were livid. Livid. And nobody communicated with them. That I had a hard time wrapping my head around that. The MLS technically did not do anything wrong because they had to do what was legal, but it was poorly handled, and it happens. It happens.
It does.
And people who don't know, they've not been communicated with well to know how their property is being marketed, what syndicates it's on, different things like that, and they're just like, I didn't know, and it's been weeks since I've talked to the agent. As a rule of thumb, just like with the touch points with your lead generation, have the touch points with your clients once a week. Doesn't have to be the same every week. Let them know you're there, updates. It depends on the strategy and what you're working on, the deal, or buying or whatever you're doing. But yeah.
Well, and as you and I have discussed, you even call when there's nothing to report. You want them to feel important. You want them to always know that you're aware that their property is for sale or that they're looking for land or looking for a house. So I hear that sometimes from agents like, well, I didn't call them this week because there was nothing to tell them. Yeah, there is. Hi.
Well,
I'm touching in. Do you have any questions? And I just want to let you know we didn't have any showings this week. However, you always call.
Yes. And another thing I learned that was a little technique, I learned this through podcasts, through Keller Williams coaching, through just lots of different resources that I use to try to make myself better, is to tell them, whether it's in an email, whether you're just casually talking on the phone, whether it's in a text, tell them what to expect next. Tell them when they're going to hear from you again. Hey, I'm going to work on this, but I'm not going to reach out to you till Friday. Boom. That's a text. Done. Easy. Gone. Then they know for the next 3 days you're busy. You'll be back in touch with them, but you acknowledged, or in an email. This is what you can expect for next steps. My transaction coordinator is reaching out or whatever it is. But I think that goes a long way.
It goes a really long way.
And it can also...
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. So it also prevents people feeling uncertain and in limbo. Humans don't like to be in limbo. They don't. Yes. They like certainty. So exactly the way you just said it. You know what? I am checking into this. I'm reaching out to that, and I'll get back to you Friday. No limbo. Oh, they know. Jolie's working on my behalf. She's doing good research. I like where she's going with that, and I'll hear something Friday. It quiets their inner mind. If you are vague in your response, like let's say they ask you a question that you don't know and you need to do some research, and you say, you know what, I'll check and get back to you. Oh.
Yes.
When? How?
Yeah.
Where? Will it be today? Will it be Sunday? And then our human brains tend to go to the negative, right?
Yes.
So, if you're vague, there's limbo, and in limbo, people usually go to the negative.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so that clarity,
again,
what you're doing, when you're doing it, and when you'll get back to them. Boom.
Yeah. Again, it all depends on communication style, and everyone's is different. I am let's sit down in your face, have some iced tea, just like we're doing right now talking. That's my personality. That's what I like. But I've had to learn to pivot and make adjustments because that's not how the rest of the world works. Right. They want email. They want text. They want minimal, they make it simple. Make it simple. But my responses are somewhere along the lines of, hey, I'm on the road today. I need to research that, make a couple of phone calls. I'm going to walk you through this plan. Let's touch base on Thursday. So they know that I'm out on the road. I'm not checking emails. I'm showing our properties or doing whatever we're doing. But that expectation is there, but they know that I'm on it, or my people do. They know that I'm on it and I'm going to circle back. That's just how I work through things, and continue the conversation. So
I want to jump subjects for a minute because I was just
Yes.
thinking about something you mentioned where you said you had an extensive career in investments and insurance, correct?
Yes.
And then you decided to make an industry switch.
I did.
And I am curious, and I'm sure other people may be out there thinking that they would like a different life or a different career. Can you share a little bit about what inspired you to make that change? And just how did you decide to leave a successful career and then launch this new company that you own?
Okay. Well, one of the things, I love helping people, and I was used to operating in a space of people with goals and goal setting and financial planning, figuring out their life's path, what they were going to do, how they were going to accomplish it, what it would take to achieve those goals, all of those things. And so it comes from a place of contribution and wanting to help people. But in my own selfish way, I desperately wanted growth, and I wanted the opportunity to be my own boss, is really what it comes down to. I was in a place where I was with an amazing team that I watched grow and build out from 3 members to 10 members. I watched that over a 2-year period with a lot of pain points, a lot of navigating, things like that. And those people are still dear to me today. One of them is my financial planner.
Nice.
He's my financial advisor. But I was capped out on growth there. And I was in a place where I didn't feel like I was growing professionally, and I wanted more. I wanted more, and I wanted the ability to be able to do different things but still help people. And so the real estate was like just a lateral pivot as far as goals, financial planning, and investments.
Yes.
Because real estate is by far, most times the biggest investments in people's lives.
Right. And a
so,
real determiner of financial security.
Yes. And so all that was just super easy to transition. What I wasn't prepared for was how hard it would be. How hard it would be to run your own business, how hard it would be to build from the ground up. When you talk about branding, when you talk about trust, when you talk about nurturing those relationships, it takes a lot. It takes an absolute learning mindset, and it takes a lot of determination to make the wheel turn.
Wait a minute, Joliee. Are you telling me it's not as easy as they make it look on TV? Hold on a minute.
It is not, but it can be so rewarding and
it is so rewarding.
And as as a parent, as a daughter, as a spouse, it's allowed me to, just like they all say, still show up for my family, I wanted to provide, I wanted to grow, I wanted to build, but I've also been able to be there for some key things that were really important. And when you're managing yourself versus working for a company where you have superiors to report to, it is different. It is different. And, the possibilities they pretty much are unlimited. They are unlimited.
They really are.
Real estate affects so many industries. It affects the building industries. It affects investment industries. And so there's so many things that go on there that are for good for people, and just really a lot to springboard off of in lots of directions.
So let's say someone's listening to us right now, and say they're in their late 40s, early 50s, and they're thinking, I wish I could do that. And their next thought is, but it's too late. What would you say to the people who are thinking, man, maybe I could make that change, but they feel like it's too late? What would you say?
I'd say people are living longer and harder, and to put your pants on and your boots on and get after it. I would say that, within a year, your life can change.
That's right.
Within a year. And, for you to sit there and think, I'm in this space and, it's not going to work. No, absolutely not. I would say go have some conversations with some really smart individuals and get your gusto and get you a plan. Yeah, I would say get you a plan and go for it, because it can absolutely happen. You can create your own space. You can drive it, you can create it, and you can build it to make it work for your life. And that's the unique thing about it.
It is.
If you're willing to do the work, it is work to get the right people in the right space to help you and grow. And you have to have the learning mindset. I mean, I've never learned
Yes.
something in my life. I mean, I've done tests,
I
I've done college. I'm like, why am I having to do this? I'm 52. I'm a mom. Why am I still studying? Why am I still learning? But
Right.
it's also addictive. Because like, if you're not this person that just wants to do halfway and just be a 50%er, then like you're motivated. Like, I want to figure this out. Like, I want to be able to do this. What they're doing is amazing. Like, how'd they do that? So.
I mean, I'll tell you, I'm in my 27th year full-time in real estate. Sometimes I joke and say in my real estate addiction, right? So I just am very passionate and really into it. Guess what? Has it changed since November 1998? All the time. I mean, one of the reasons, let's face it, our particular industry has one of the highest churn rates of any industry in our country, meaning people start, they get in, they don't hit the ignition point, and they get right back out, right? So once you make it past that churn, oh my gosh, you can stay excited, energized, learning. Things are changing. Even contracts and regulations, as we all know, change. Exciting. It's to me, it's a combination. To give you an example outside of real estate, it's a combination of the energy and excitement of being an ER doctor, where you never know who's coming in or what you're going to face and what you're going to solve, and you're solving problems every day. So there's that energy and that vibe.
Great analogy.
We build lifelong relationships with our clients and even people that aren't our clients, and we become a resource for them. So then we have that benefit of being a family practitioner because we're seeing the same players and we're building those really rewarding relationships. So I feel like our industry, once get through that churn, listen to Joliee if you're out there. Figure out how to make it through the churn, find the people, find the models, push yourself, get out there. And then you get this opportunity for such a robust industry where you can learn all the time. You can grow all the time. You could become a land specialist as you're just excelling in land. And do residential at the same time or invest. Like, it's so many things. I won't bore people. It is more than it appears on TV in terms of difficulty and opportunity.
Yeah.
So this leads me to another concept that I think will help people make it through that churn and get to what we're enjoying, where we're learning and we're challenged, and every day is not perfect, and yet we overcome the obstacle, and we're leaning in with people and collaborating, all of that. I think it's critical, and I'd love your opinion. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be. So we are talking here to, like, let's say someone's in their late 40s, early 50s, and they want to make the change. You got to get used to not being the smartest person in the room anymore.
Absolutely.
A lot of times by 48, you've developed skills and, you can be an expert in your area. Guess what? When you come to real estate, you have to I tell myself, I'm a freshman. I'm going to absorb. And you clear your mind so that you can be in that. But you've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Can you relate to that in any manner?
Yeah. I call it awkward moments, and there's plenty of them, but at the same time, you learn from those moments. And once you learn, it builds you up. It makes you stronger, and you can move forward. And, life is hard. I mean, life is hard, and, it takes vision. It takes persistence. I have a young person that's helping me, and I've learned a lot from her because she's that generation. She's my daughter's age, and she brings a fresh perspective to it. And I'm willing to be open-minded enough. I mean, we had to push. It was hard for me to get to that point because I was just wanting to control it, or to oversee all of it. But as we built that relationship, it's worked really well. And it's become a system for me that I implemented that I desperately needed for months and months. And then at the same time, I have these mentors that have been in the real estate industry much longer than I have and are hugely successful. And I mean, they could just say one sentence that's just like this golden nugget that I can take and apply to 10 different aspects of what I'm doing. And, and And one other thing that I would say, Bridget, that a lot of people don't do, just like you're saying, can I do this? You got to be willing to put yourself out there. You got to be
Yes.
willing to build the relationships, to go to be at the event or the seminar, the webinar. I mean, good things come from it. And you've got to be willing to put into that so that you can get out of it what you need to grow and to build.
Grow and to actually have a business and not just a hobby.
And that in and of itself is work. That in and of itself
that
is
is work.
And that actually, so it's all professional development, and it has nothing to do with your client from the perspective of buying and selling, but yet it does, because you're the one that's representing them. It all goes hand in hand. And the better you are, the better they're going to be, and the better you're going to be for them. So to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yes. Well, I have one last question for you. As you made that change and launched your business in real estate, what do you hear more often? Yes or no?
No. You hear no.
Correct.
You work through the no's till you get to
how do you work through hearing no and not allow that to deflate or derail you?
Well, I kind of acknowledge it and I meet them where they're at. But one of the things that I'm really good at is follow up. And that comes from, again, that previous industry that I worked in. And I stay with them. Whether it's, family member passing away, the kid graduating, I stay on them and I stay with them. What are your goals for this year? I mean, the nurture and the follow up. And it's something that's a high priority for me. And I've had to continue to try to refine other skills. Those come naturally to me.
Okay. So you are handling the rejection, and you're not allowing your feelings of being rejected to be a stronger feeling than your desire for success as a businesswoman.
No. And it just means not right now. It just means they're not ready, not right now.
I had someone tell me that when they hear no, they hear new opportunity.
Yes.
Or next opportunity.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so they and they don't allow it. That's just smooth as silk. You stay on your path.
Yep.
Knowing that it is part of the process.
Yes. Yes. And you just find a different angle and you keep going. Yes.
So Joliee, first off, if anyone wants I'm just going to say any land in Texas, reach out to you first, because you have a great network of land experts across the entire state.
Yes.
Even some of the parts that are a little, not often thought of, right? So I want people to reach out, obviously, for that.
Yes.
If someone wanted to reach out to you, and I'm going to have all of your contact information in the description, but I know some people are listening and they're not looking at the screen. What is the best way for someone to reach out to you? Instagram handle?
No, I mean, at Joliee Robinson Realty, and, my email, I'm with Keller Williams. But mainly email, social media. Yeah.
Okay. And so you did mention you are with Keller Williams, Brazos Valley.
Yes.
Right. And what do you enjoy about, being with KW?
The relationships with the agents, co-agents. I've never met people more willing to help in any way possible, and not in a greedy way or a selfish kind of way. I mean, in an honest, spirited, teamwork, partnership kind of way. And the relationships with the agents in the office has been, just such a blessing. And that would be the most important thing for me.
If there's any agent out there that may be feeling that they did make the change, maybe they had that dream like we're talking about and they made the change, and things are not quite going the way that they had hoped, could they also reach out and talk to you? If someone is in
Yes.
I figured as much. I know you enjoy the human connection and contributing to others. So again, residential land expert, Brazos Valley, very well connected, and has built this network of land specialists across the state. Yes. And please reach out to Joliee Robinson of Joliee Robinson Realty. That is her team. Go online and check out her branding. One of the keys to her success is she did keep it simple, yet elegant, refined, and very appealing. I'd love for you all to check out the branding that she's created. Joliee, any final words you would like to share with anyone who has listened all the way through with us?
Just Surround yourself with amazing people that are smart and willing to pour into you, and you can do anything you want to do. Have a learning mindset, be diligent in your efforts, and be committed. Find yourself a good coach. Find yourself a good
Yes,
coach.
it makes such a difference.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
I hired my first coach when I had my real estate license, not even 3 months. And I'm coming up on year 27, so I don't regret the choice. Right? I think it was a big part of the entire
Absolutely.
trajectory.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Joliee. And I'd love for you to come back as a guest again. Maybe you could come
thank
back
you
and
for having me.
we could talk a little bit more about what it's like to buy and sell land. Maybe we could get into some of your specialties. Would that be good?
That'd be
All
great.
right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
All righty.
All right.
Bye-bye.